Hey everybody, my name is Hunter and this is my dirty, messy carving shed here in Virginia. I myself personally carve skulls, so there's a lot of dust in the air, which calls for a respirator. Now this contraption looking thing is indeed a respirator. It looks more like a snorkel, but I'm going to cover this in the video. This is not a sponsored video, so I am going to cover the cons and the pros about this. There are some cons, I will say that up front, but by the end of the video I do hope to convince you to purchase one of these. So stay tuned and we're going to get right into it. Okay, first off is kind of like an unboxing. If you purchase this from the same place I did, which is Woodworker's Supply, this is exactly what's going to come in the box. Now, I'm not necessarily going to cover exactly how this thing works. You'll kind of get the gist of it as I go along. There's a bunch of information already online. There's videos on this already, so I'm not going to cover that. I'm just going to punch through some of the benefits and some of the cons to this. So I'm going to punch out the cons first, then we'll cover the benefits. Con number one is the Hepa filters are only rated for particulates, so actual particles of dust. They are not rated for fumes, okay? Now, for what I do, the skull carving, that's perfectly fine. There really isn't any fumes related to skull carving, just the particles of the bone dust, so it works fine for that, but as far as just your general use with fumes, not an option with this. Number two, just underneath the mouthpiece is the exhaust valve, and that is where you breathe out of, the used air comes out of, and apparently it's a fairly big problem that the saliva, your saliva, drips out of this. Now, I've used this a bunch since I bought it, and I can say probably maybe 3 times one drip of saliva came out. So for whatever reason, for me, this is not an issue, but if you start looking around on YouTube and on the internet, you're gonna see a lot of people adding a little catch bottle here to catch the saliva, because apparently it is a problem. Number three, the replacement filters are proprietary, so you have to buy their filters to replace these once these get dirty and clogged up. You cannot add just a generic filter. There are people who modify this to add generic filters, but other than that, you have to buy a pair, which is $15 just to replace your filters. Number four, just a heads up, this little bracket piece back here will break over time. That has come up numerous times online as far as people talking about this, just because you open it up to put it on like this, and that piece back here is eventually going to crack and split open. Number five, it's not exactly super comfortable to wear. Now, as opposed to a respirator where you wear on your face, which is not really comfortable to begin with to me, for me, but this, you have a clip that goes onto your nose, you know, so your nose is clamped up, and when you put it on like this, you have to hold it with your lips, and how often do you have to hold something with your lips in your mouth? So you do get used to it. I may be overplaying this, overemphasizing this, but I do get some sores inside of my lips from holding this up. It is not counterbalanced opposed to what they say in the video. So this is where you're going to hold it in your mouthpiece, and as you can tell, it's a lot heavier on the front. Plus, when you're bending down working on something, all the weight is pulling down on your lips. You can't really turn your head side to side just because the mouthpiece is stationary, and it's difficult. It's not that difficult, but it is to turn your head side to side while wearing this, as you can see. So just overall, it's not super comfortable. You do get used to wearing it if you use this for a bit, but it's not exactly the most comfortable thing to wear. Okay, number six is the price. I believe it's about $55 to purchase on Woodworker's Supply and Amazon. I believe Duckworks is a bit cheaper. I'll have to come back to that. But yeah, it's not $30 or $20 like you might get some of these, maybe the 3M mask at Home Depot or something like that. So it is a bit on the pricey side. Okay, and now for some of the benefits of using the Resp-O-Rator. First off is if you wear prescription glasses or safety glasses while you are working, they will not fog up just because you're not breathing through your nose. There's no air being trapped anywhere around your eyes. You're breathing out of the back of the respirator, so don't have to worry about fogging up your glasses. Now, probably one of the biggest benefits to this, and kind of the main reason anyone who purchases one of these does purchase one of these, is because it works great with a beard. You really cannot have a beard, honestly, with a traditional respirator, just because the connection, the seal, is not very good because of the hair. So you do get air that creeps in and dust, essentially, when you wear a traditional type of respirator like a 3M respirator that I was using. Because the seal is just around your lips, the seal is excellent and absolutely no air is getting in. And plus you have the nose clip, so that prevents any air from going up your nostrils while you're breathing through this. Okay, another benefit to this is that you're actually breathing from behind your head. So instead of breathing in whatever you're working on right in front of you, you're pulling the air from behind you, and that just helps with not bringing in as much particles in wherever you're working at. This also works really well with face shields. Now, I personally don't use a face shield, but if like you're a wood turner or you're doing other type of thing where you got stuff flying up at your face and you wear a face shield, it is compatible with the face shield. It just comes out in front of it and it doesn't hinder that at all. And lastly, the Hepa filters on this are graded for bone dust. So 0.3 microns is about as small as bone dust is going to get, and this does filter out down to 0.3 microns. So this is excellent for carving and having bone dust around you. Okay, so I just want to give a few thoughts about this Resp-O-Rator and what I think about it. First off, if you have a beard, in my opinion, this is the best thing, affordable thing on the market for people who have a beard. So if you have a beard and you're doing any type of carving where you need a respirator, I highly recommend purchasing this. Now, it has its downfalls. It has its things that aren't so great about it, like I covered. Any video that you're gonna watch is kind of hilarious. Any video that you watch on YouTube, just Google Resp-O-Rator or on YouTube Resp-O-Rator, and you're gonna see a few, maybe 5 or 6 videos on people who cover this. And almost every single video, they modify it in some way. So whether that's replacing this little brace back here because it's gonna break, or adding some type of bottle here to catch your saliva, or there's just a multitude of things that people have modified this to be better. So it's a great product, but it definitely needs some improving, okay? But as of right now, it's kind of, this is your only option. So if you have a beard and you don't have $300 or whatever it costs for one of those full face masks, then this is what I do recommend buying. Okay, now the last thing I want to cover, which is kind of the kicker to this whole video, is the same company that makes the Resp-O-Rator also makes a Respirator Junior. Now it is just one Hepa filter, same Hepa filter that they use on the respirator, with the same mouthpiece, except it's just one. You're going to have complete mobility with this just because there's no straps or nothing connected to your head. It's just holding in with your lips. It's not heavy, so you don't get the same irritation that you would with the normal respirator. And I would recommend this if you work in an area that's well ventilated. My setup here is I have a fan off to my right. The fan does have a filter on it, so the air in my workshop, in my shed, is constantly being filtered. Weather permitting, I'll open windows, doors. I have a downdraft table here that's also cleaning the air. So essentially what I'm saying is I'm not working in a closed spot where there's just a bunch of plumes of bone dust in my face. My workspace is fairly clean. So I feel really comfortable just using the Respirator Junior. It's just the one filter as opposed to the 2 filters. If you're working in a space that's you know, small, there's no ventilation at all, I would stick with the Respirator just because it's 2 filters, it's pulling air from behind your head, stuff like that. But otherwise, guys, it's like $14. So it's pretty darn affordable to buy. And it's small, it works great, the connection is great, again, if you have a beard. So yeah, I would highly recommend the Respirator Junior over the normal Resp-O-Rator if it works with whatever you're working on. So as much as this thing looked like a snorkel, I just had to stop by and see if it actually kind of worked like one. And it actually worked pretty well, surprisingly. Obviously not being serious. But thank you guys for watching. I do hope this was helpful to you. I would strongly recommend 2 things. I would recommend Googling Resp-O-Rator, see the other videos that people have put out there, the modifications that they've done, their thoughts on it. And also the second thing, go to Amazon and look at the Amazon reviews. The Amazon reviews are very telling. As in each of the reviews that I read talked about something that I had kind of thought or dealt with the Respirator. So do go take a look at those reviews. I will leave links to 2 different places where you can purchase this from. I would recommend Duckworks just because they sell the Junior as well as replacement mouthpieces, filters, stuff like that. Please consider subscribing to my channel. It means a lot to me. And I will be having a giveaway, by the way, in the description of this video 24 hours after I publish it. So, all right guys, I'll see you next Monday.